Who should I tell about my spouse's affair? That is a very tricky, complex question that we're going to be addressing. If you've yet to subscribe to our channel, please hit the button and do that. We have hundreds of helpful videos. And if you have a question about this or any other topic, I want you to put it in the box, send it to us. We get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So stay tuned for this very important question. Who should I tell about my spouse's affair? Now, before we get into that question, if you're watching this and you just found out about your spouse's affair, you're in a lot of pain. And when you're in pain, you can become very irrational, very short-term thinking. Like when I have a toothache, the only thing I want to do is stop the toothache. So I'm going to validate your pain is real. As we walk through this issue, you're going to have to consider more than your pain as to who you tell. Now, I've been counseling couples with infidelity for over 35 years. I've heard all kinds of variations, from best friends to secretaries to her boss to your next door neighbor, someone in the family, even all kinds of crazy stories. And they're all painful. Even the people who just experienced their spouse watching porn or going online on Facebook or some social media and interacting in some emotional affair, that's painful too. They're all painful. And pain is part of what you're trying to manage. Now, who you should tell, that's going to be important to resolve. So let's talk about that. Now, this is a little gender-ish. And what I mean, my experience with men is they don't want to go tell everybody, unless they're planning to divorce. If they're planning to divorce, maybe so. But if they're planning to stay together, they want as few people to know that their wife has cheated on them as possible. They feel a sense of humiliation about it, and they don't want people to know, and they honestly are trying to protect their wife from that exposure and those judgments. And men tend to be able to separate their pain from, okay, if I'm going to stay with her, I don't want her family or my family or other people knowing, because I don't want them judging her and them not wanting to be in relationship with her the rest of our lives. Or for their sisters and brothers to not have their kids over because they have these feelings about my wife. Men approach it significantly differently. Now, when women are in pain, and it doesn't matter what kind of pain, pain from their day, pain with raising the kids, pain financially, they like to share pain, just generally speaking. And this is a big pain. And sometimes their instinct is to go and tell everybody everything. One, so they feel validated, to get the validation that, oh, you're really hurting, you really need support, I'm with you. Two, sometimes to kind of expose the husband and what kind of person he is. And sometimes there's even other motives. Now, what happens is the pain will subside and then the real decisions start to settle in. Because women often think they're going to leave after infidelity before infidelity happens. Once infidelity happens, you have significant financial issues to think about, significant impact on your kids if you're going to divorce, where you're going to live, lifestyle choices, lifestyle limitations. There are so many factors that go into making that decision of staying in a marriage or not, for men and for women. And so it's easier to give yourself permission to kind of hold off on telling the world before you kind of get really down the road a little bit and get some help with your pain. Then let the people that are helping you be that first group of people you tell. That could be your therapist. That might be a spiritual leader. That might be someone that you really trust or has been a mentor to you. Maybe someone who lives in another city that's not in your circle of immediate friends that you could say, hey, this happened, I really need support. But let it be people that are going to help you along the way. Now, oftentimes, that's not going to be your family. Now, they might be supportive, but they're going to be in long-term relationships with your spouse. And I've seen couples where the spouse was not welcome back to the in-laws' house for years because this was exposed so early on and in such a painful, detailed way. And so The first people you want to tell is people that are going to help you figure out your hurt, your trauma, what you're going through, allow you to grieve, allow you to express and facilitate your anger work. You know, we have a video called After Infidelity. It's great. There's some things that you need to do if you are traumatized. We have a whole book on partner betrayal trauma. The trauma is real. The PTSD, the dreams, the intrusive thoughts, the wanting to investigate everything, all those things are really real. But the more people you involve early on, the more you're going to have to clean up later on. And so my first encouragement is tell people that are professionals that can help you along the way. You can always call my office, do a phone session, get it off your chest, get some really clear advice with people who specialize in infidelity. Okay, and you can see the number on your screen, call that. It'd be really helpful for you. Look in the description section, because there is help for the betrayal trauma that you're experiencing, whether you're a man or a woman, because this happens to both genders. Now, after you get stabilized, you have some support, then make decisions on who really needs to know, because this person's going to know the rest of their life, and consider how it's going to impact them. And this includes children. Children don't always need to know. Okay, you can protect them from this information. They don't have to know that mom cheated or dad cheated. Because if you're going to stay together, now you're going to have to clean up the pain that they have from that information. Now, sometimes they're the ones who find out. Sometimes the kids are the ones who find the stuff on the internet, or the thing that happened on the cell phone, or they actually find this person in your house because they came home early. Now that is going to invoke them knowing and managing all of that. But generally that's not the case. And so what you want to do is first find people that can support you, then decide what process you're going to go through to make your decision to stay or not. Because if you're going to stay, you really want to limit the amount of people that know, because those relationships can be terminated or affected for the rest of your life. And it won't be because of what he did. It'll be because of them finding out about what he did and how they found out. And so once you let it out, you can't control the circle. You tell your hairdresser tells her best friend tells the bartender tells the guy at the bar, who happens to be their boss, right? So you live in a smaller circle than you can imagine. So you want to contain this as much as possible in the beginning. And then as you process through, okay, I'm staying, I'm not staying, these are the people that are going to help me. Now I'm talking to lawyers, I'm talking to this, okay. Then you can walk it out as you go through the process. But my initial response would be, stay calm, make it very few trustworthy people, try not to involve extended family until you know where you're going. And I would give yourself like 60, 90 days, sometimes 6 months, to figure out where you're going before you start laying the groundwork for who needs to know. This is not a decision that needs to be made right away. It's not a decision that needs to be made emotionally or in haste. It really is best if you get some real counsel on that before you go do it. Now, I know if you've been hurt, you want to hurt back. But the people you're hurting is the people you tell, not necessarily your spouse. So you want to be careful on how much pain you deliver through this information. Now, if you need legitimate support, that's fine. Do that. But be careful. This is a very sensitive topic. And I'm not talking about keeping the secret. I'm talking about managing the pain first and then making decisions, not reactions, as you go through this process. And again, if you've been through this, I definitely would, look at our betrayal trauma stuff. Get help. There's groups, there's phone counseling. You need help. You can even come do an intensive. And if you want to find out the real truth, because sometimes that's the issue, they can do a polygraph and verify they're not communicating with them anymore. They're not having sex with them anymore. It only was 2 people, 3 people, 5 people. And it was really a month ago, 6 months ago, or 5 years ago, or 20 years ago. And so you can get clarity so that you can heal. That's important for you. So I think we covered this well enough. If you have more questions, give us a call on the phone number on the screen, and we would really like to hear from you. If you've yet to subscribe, please subscribe. We have so much on this topic specifically and so much more that you can learn from. And if you have a question about this, go ahead, put it in the box. We'd love to hear from you.